my lovelies, today I'm going to be doing the Pride Flag book tag. If you didn't know, June is actually Pride Month and I thought it is especially important to do this video in 2020 because I've been coming to terms with the fact that I'm probably somewhere under the umbrella term of queer. I've been more open about it recently. I don't know exactly why I am or what exact label I fit into that, but I just know I've been joking about it a lot more and I probably am somewhere under queer. So I think now is a really great time to be putting something like the Pride Flag book tag out there. The Pride Flag book tag was actually created by Common Spence in 2018 and his video is really great. I do recommend you go watch it because he details the history of the colours in the Pride Flag and I thought that was really cool, and that was the first place I actually learned about the different colours of the Pride Flag. And this book tag is going to be based around the 6 colours of the current Pride Flag that we use, which is red, orange, yellow, green, blue and purple. Each colour has a different meaning. Red is life, orange is healing, yellow is sunshine, green is nature, blue is peace or harmony and purple is spirit. So the questions are all based around those different meanings. I actually found this quite difficult to find books that fit under each question. That's because I'm very much a fantasy reader when it comes to reading for myself. All my university reads are quite classical reads because I do a lot of medieval literature, so the LGBT plus community is not very accepted in medieval literature, let's just say. So because I don't own a lot of contemporary, I haven't got many LGBT plus books in my shelves, which is a thing I need to completely fix. And I also think as writers and readers we should be demanding and publishing more fantasy books that have LGBT plus readers in it. I also found this tag quite difficult because the books that I did find and I love actually fit into multiple different categories, so I'm going to do my best to go through them now. The first colour is red, which is life, and that's to find a book with a spirited character who's totally proud of who they are or somebody that gives you life. And my first thought was actually Ellie Wolf from the Rosewood Chronicles, but I'm going to put that under another colour, so saving that for later. So my second thought was actually Trey and Sol from The Romance Instead by C.L. Raven. C.L. Raven are a pair of twins from Cardiff who write short stories mostly, although they have published novels as well. And I have met them a couple of times and I've had all the books I have of them signed. Romance Instead is a series of anti-romance short stories and the characters of Trey and Sol actually become reoccurring characters, so you've got several different stories that focus on them dotted throughout, and that's because one of them is a serial killer, but their relationship is very loving and very passionate that I really enjoyed the fact that this circled back round to them a lot. One thing that's almost guaranteed with C.L. Raven short story collections is that there'll be short stories about a gay couple in there somewhere, both lesbian and gay. And I really like the way they write them. I really like the way that they make them goth because you don't actually see a lot of goth gay couples about anywhere. And as somebody who is quite gothic, I really appreciated that. I also quite like the characters of Phineas and I think it was Troy. No, it's not Troy, it's Trey. And I've just realised this one's a ghost story in an asylum. Even though I didn't rate this very highly, I really liked the ghostly couple, and I'm just realising if this is a ghost called Trey in an asylum and this is a couple with serial killers in it, oh my god, are they connected? If they're connected, I would have rated this a lot higher than the 2.5 stars that I gave this, because I really like the dynamic of the couple in this, of Phineas and Trey, but I found the plot needed an editor, let's just say, because they are self-published. And now I'm just thinking, are they connected? Oh my god. Am I an idiot and they're the same Trey? Just in a different gay relationship because now it's ghosts. Oh my god, that gives me life. That gives me even more life. The next colour is orange, which is for healing, and that's a book that made you as the reader find a deepening meaning or catharsis in your life. Now my first instinct for this was actually a non-LGBT plus book, and that was Peter Pan, because I don't know, something about the whole Peter Pan story just connects to me so much, especially the way it's whimsical and magical on the surface, and it's also got really darker underlayers, and I just love that whole aspect of it being really uncomfortable to think about the growing up process. That was my first thought, but when I started actually going through my shelves, I realised I've got so many tabs in Elizabeth Acevedo's The Poet X, which is something I don't normally do. I don't normally highlight and tab books because I normally like to just read and sink into the story because I have to do academic reading for university. The Poet X isn't actually about the main character who is gay, but her twin brother actually has a sub-storyline about how him dealing with the fact that he is gay. So I think I'm going to put this under a book that made me think a lot because of how much I've tabbed this out. The Poet X is actually written in poetry, and it's about Xiomara, who has always kept her word to herself. In a Harlem neighborhood, her fists and her fierceness do the talking. But X has secrets, her feelings for a boy in her bio class, a notebook full of poems that she keeps under the bed, and a slam poetry club that will pull those secrets into the spotlight. Because in spite of a world that might not want to hear her, Xiomara refuses to stay silent. And because it's written in poetry, that's what makes it so thought-provoking and helps you find deeper meaning in it. So even though her brother dealing with the fact that he's gay is only a subplot, it is still really thought-provoking in this. And the fact that it's written in poetry is one of the reasons why it made me think of the deeper meaning that this question is asking. For example, this stanza I've highlighted and tabbed here says, "The world is almost peaceful when you stop trying to understand it." And there's just all sorts of phrases like that, and I really need to give this a reread, and I'm almost tempted to annotate it properly as if I was studying it. Another book that helped me find deeper meaning is actually Michael Grant's Gone series. This is one of the first times I actually saw characters who were LGBT plus in the characters of Brianna and Decker. I could have also put Brianna and Decker in red for characters that give me life. I wasn't a big reader when I was younger, so Michael Grant's Gone series was one of the few books I actually latched onto, and Brianna and Decker were one of the first few characters that I actually came across who had a different sexuality other than straight. So I feel like this also goes into books that help me find deeper meaning, because there's a lot in this book, especially with it being sci-fi, that makes it deal with difficult questions. This series actually follows a town where all the adults over 15 have disappeared, and they're in this like dome thing, so it's about kids having to learn and survive on their own, and you eventually have also sci-fi mutations, so it deals with a lot of moral questions as well, so that's why I put it under deeper meaning. The next colour is yellow, which is sunshine, which is a book that fills you with so much joy it can brighten even the darkest of days, and I've got to put the Rosewood Chronicles series into this. This series is definitely my sunshine. It's definitely the series that gives me so much joy because I find so much comfort in the writing. It's about the school Rosewood, which is a boarding school for the children of either important people or royals, and there is so much in this that just makes me so happy. There is actually a transgender character, but I can't tell you who it is because that is actually part of a riddle and it will spoil the plot, but let's just say this transgender character is actually a very vital part of Rosewood's history, so the whole school is already founded in this LGBT plus community. So as well as this transgender character being an absolutely vital part of the history of the Rosewood School, you also have a lesbian character revealed at the end of the first book who continue to be a couple throughout the other two books, and you've also got a really slow burn lesbian romance, which I'm hoping is going to develop even further in books 4 and 5, because there are going to be 5 books in this series, and we've so far had 3 of them, and I love them so much, and I feel so comforted by this. So this has definitely got some good representation in it, even if some of it is slow burn, so I really do recommend the Rosewood Chronicles. The next question is green, which is nature, a book that is set out of this world or reality it's really different from your own. I'm actually going to compile some of the books that I've used in the other questions because a lot of them fit here. And for example, the Gone series, this is a sci-fi world where there are no adults, and Pantomime, the Mika Gray trilogy, which I'm actually going to talk about in the next colour. So this could really fit in here because it's a steampunk Victorian world where magic is lost, so that's a completely different world to mine and also involves the circus. But also I think again the Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo, because Xiomara is from a family who is very strict Christian Dominican, so that is a completely different world from mine, as well as the fact that she lives in the Harlem neighbourhood, which is so vastly different from my Welsh village as well. So I could have put all of these under this. I think what I'm going to settle on is The Deathless Girls by Kieran Millward Hargrave, which is an origin story for the Rise of Frankenstein, because this is a fantasy world with vampires, so it's a world completely different from our own, but there is a actual solid lesbian couple in this as well. And because the two main characters, Kizzy and Lil, are actually from a travelling family, that is another world that's completely different from mine as well. But The Deathless Girls could also fall under the next colour, which is blue for harmony, a book where one of the characters finds peace with a difficult truth, and at the end of this the characters do have to find peace with the truth of them being Rise of Dracula, which is quite a harsh truth to have to deal with. But the book that I'm going to solidly put under colour blue is Pantomime by Laura Lamb, which is part of the Mika Grey trilogy, and this follows the character of Jean, who is both male and female, and when the High Victorian society starts to get too much, they run away and join the circus under the new name of Mika Grey. So it's all about them discovering which gender they want to be, which gender they want to date, who they are exactly, because there's also magic involved, and Mika has got this bit of magic that's meant to have actually been lost. So this is a really good exploration of Mika trying to discover themselves through joining the circus and becoming an acrobat and starting relationships in a completely different life to what this Victorian-esque steampunk society wanted her to be. This really strongly fits into this category because Mika's parents wanted them to be Jean, who is a girl. They wanted them to be examined by all these different doctors, go to balls, go into high society and marry, but Mika actually discovers they've got a little bit of magic, runs away to circus and falls in love with acrobatics? Aerobatics? Gymnastics. Aerial gymnastics. And the last question is Purple, which is Spirit, a book that deals with LGBT plus themes and religion. And the only book I can think to go into this is The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo, because Xiomara and Xavier's family are very, very strict Christians, and even though Xiomara's actual plot is to do with her poetry and the boy she's dating, her twin brother also is dealing with the fact he is gay, and that's not going to go down well with such strict Christian family. That's the only book I could find that had any sort of connection to religion. So that is the Pride Flag book tag for 2020. I do have a couple of other books that deal with LGBT plus themes. I don't have a lot. These are the few that I do have. Simon vs. Homo Sapiens Gender is a classic when it comes to this, and I have read it and I did love it, but it just didn't fit for any of the questions that I have. I also have Rainbow Rowell, Carry On, which is about the fan fiction that she writes in Fangirl, and this is about Baz and Simon, who are also a couple, and this is a fantasy sort of world because it's fan fiction, so that could have fit in with Green, but because I haven't read it yet, I'm not going to put it anywhere. And another book that I'm really excited for is Things a Bright Girl Can Do, because this is going to have a couple in it called Nell and May, who are dealing with the suffragette movement, and I have a feeling that this could also fit into the colour of blue, about finding peace, or the colour purple, because I think with it being set around the suffragette era, religion might come into it, but I don't know yet because I haven't read it. So thank you for watching, like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.